Hello, it's good to be here.
Yeah, we finally did it. I know you've got a lot going on, Donna, so thank you. Thank you for, yeah. And you have a great story, first of all. You really do. You're a huge, at least for me, it feels like you're a huge success story.
Yes, what a ride.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to before you and I even met and what it was like in your love life back then when you were, when it wasn't working.
Well, my love life has never worked my whole life. I'm 55, and so I was married. I did not get married until I was 40, and how that ever happened, I'm not even quite sure. But men just never picked me, and it's like, what's wrong with me? My friends are getting married, they're having families, and not me. So. Then I did become a widow, and I started dating again, and I didn't know what avoidant meant, but I certainly had my fair share of those that left me, I'm anxious, so that made it just a horrible, horrible experience.
Perfect combo.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then out of frustration, one day I saw you. I saw you on a Facebook, and I listened, and I went to your 45-minute speech, and I thought, I don't care what else I do this year. I have to do this.
Oh, that's amazing. And what was it about, seeing the webinar, the presentation, or me or whatever, because you could have listened to it and not come on a call with me. You could have just listened to it and said no, but something made you want to get on that call with me.
Yes. What it was is it wasn't a sales job, I guess, is how I felt when I watched your 45-minute presentation. You felt like a real person. You were sharing real information, and it just felt right to me. And I knew I had to do something, and I just couldn't resist trying to better myself. It was. I didn't feel anxious listening to you. It didn't create anxiety.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I get it. So let me ask you, you came on you got on that call with me, and what was it? What was the thing? Because usually there's some real pain point, Donna, that a woman says, I just can't keep doing this, or I'm going to die alone if I don't get this fixed. Or what was it that was happening internally for you?
Well, I was at a very low point when I called. Like I said, I ended an avoidant relationship that had been going on for longer than it should have. And I just, speaking with you, you asked me a question in the beginning. You asked me if I could describe the perfect relationship. And I was able to just read it off to you. And I knew what I wanted. I just didn't have the tools to understand. And when I talked to you, I was vacillating between seeing a therapist. And I had done that when I was younger, and I felt like I had done a lot of other work. I just felt like there was something with my personality. And then listening to you just kind of made it all just come to a head,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it made you realize that you had a dream and you had a problem, and you didn't know how to get from a lifelong history of having, not having success with men, to building that dream. But you knew the dream could happen, it sounds like.
You made me believe the dream could happen.
No, that's what I'm there.
I did not believe the dream could happen.
And it did. I mean, that's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
It did. If I remember correctly, you also were in the back of your mind thinking, I'll do the course, but I'm not going to date. Were you one
Right.
of those? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I just wanted to feel better. And when
Oh.
I started, I remember the first lesson, I thought,
Hmm.
oh, and I read the book, started reading the books. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't feeling like, oh my God, I have to have a man today. But how do I do that? It was just, it stopped the craziness. And then I
Hmm.
thought, maybe I will date, maybe.
So when you came in, like the bit right from the start, reading attached and, just even the first couple of weeks, it started to calm you down.
Right away. Right away, I calmed down immediately. Also because I felt like I was actually working on myself. I'm not going to say it was easy because it certainly was not easy.
Really? What was hard about it?
Well, it's not hard, like physically hard,
Mhm.
but you have to really look at yourself and your behaviors and understand
Yeah.
how you are doing what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that can be a little painful sometimes, but man, it's so worth it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking at it, taking responsibility for whatever you did, and then
Yeah.
going out and then actually having a plan for changing it,
Yes.
making different choices.
Well, there are a few things that I didn't want to do, but I'm glad I did. And especially when it came down to dating more than one person, that's
Mhm.
something, when you talked about that I can see how that is an integral part of breaking through
Yeah.
patterns.
Why was it for you, Donna? What did you see?
Um, the reason it's so important is because if you go on a date with someone, one person, you care too much.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I did. I cared so much. Wasn't looking for what I needed and wanted. I was trying to pretend to be and hoped I was everything the guy was looking for. And when you have multiple men, you don't have that.
Yay.
Yeah, that is big. That's really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then you started, and was part of you wanting to go out and date also seeing the success the other women were having?
Yes, listening to the other women's stories. When I first started, I was very kind of closed down to the whole idea of listening and watching other people, but that quickly changed. And listening to some of other women express something that maybe I was afraid to say or wondered what was wrong with me, like, am I the only one who thinks this? Was really it allows you to open up and recognize that we're all just people. Men,
Yes.
men are still just people, So
Yeah, and we're all going through the same stuff. It doesn't matter if you're 35 or 45, it doesn't matter how beautiful a woman is. I mean, I think sometimes it's shocking. Like I look at you and I'm like, every time I see you, she's so beautiful. She has such a great sense of style, you do. And I'm like, I know why, because I'm smart, this is what I do. But I would look at you if I didn't know what I do. And I think, oh my gosh, like she should have a million men falling at her feet. It's hard. I would think that.
well, there have been times in my life, especially when I was younger, I thought maybe I just intimidate men. In fact, I think I did because of, my wall or whatever. But, I would say that to myself, I'd say, I'm as pretty as that girl. How come she's got like guys all over her? And
Yep.
I can't get a date. So,
I know. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And it's heartbreaking.
yeah.
It's really heartbreaking, but it doesn't matter because you'll also see women on the calls who could be models. Some of the women are gorgeous and they're
Gorgeous.
going through. Yeah, no, I mean, I put you in that category, by the way. I think you're so beautiful, just such like an angel. But but I really do, I'm just blown away because, I've had women in the course, I just would have, you look at them from the outside and you're like, but we know that it's more than that. So
It's way more, and women hide that sometimes.
They hide what? That they're hurting, that they're.
Yeah, and that I think I overachieved then in work and made myself busy in an attempt to hide what was really bothering me. Yeah.
Which is this. This is what we want more than anything.
Yeah.
The great job is wonderful to have, right? It's wonderful. Nobody's knocking it. But what about this?
This is really good.
Yeah.
And it makes work even better. Do you know what I mean? It makes everything in your life better.
Everything. If you've got a great job, get a great guy, and then sky's the limit, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So tell me, what are some of the long-term results? Like, it's more, you and I both know that this course is way more than just like how to find your guy, right? There's a lot, it really does help you transform from the inside out. What are some of the other changes you see in your life?
Well, I have better relationships with the women I work with. And I have to say that I must put out a different energy. Just this morning, I went to a store to do a little shopping, and two different men came up to me and started talking. And I'm like, and we're wearing masks and everything like that. And I'm thinking, my hair isn't done, And so I just have to tell you, you're just like, once you do the work, you become a different person. And so the long-term events or the long-term results are, it affects every area of your life. And if you can stay with it, it is a life changer. Yeah.
What was the hardest part for you? What was the thing that was the most challenging?
Writing down and looking for patterns in relationships, and then answering the question about what did I get from that?
Like, why did you settle? What was the trade-off? Like,
what was right?
What was the trade-off? That's that's really hard.
Because I had to recognize that perhaps, not perhaps, I was playing a part in that. And that's not always the easiest thing to accept and look at. So that was the hardest.
And Donna, let me ask you, let's talk about your guy. How many dates did you go on with other guys before you met him?
I went on, there were 5 different men. Well, he would have been the 6th. So there were 5 different men. And as you know, that I actually went on dates with. There were others that were phone calls and texting that didn't go anywhere. So maybe overall 20.
That you committed there, because we consider all of those, right? Those were all people that you either dated or communicated with, but they were stepping stones. And so let me ask you, what week was that in the course when you met?
I would say week 6.
It's great.
Week 6, between 4 and 6, when you start dating again, was I was picking men that met a criteria that I'm not even sure I can identify, but I would see a photo and I would be instantly like, okay, I'm going to contact him. It seemed like every single time I did that, I wound up with the same kind of man, avoidant. I got so good, I could tell whole conversation.
You're a magnet.
Yes. And so then I was really frustrated on a call, and I'm thinking, man, and then I don't know if you said something or another woman said something about looking, or maybe it was in one of the modules it said to consider other men, like what to look for in a dating profile. And so I started to do that. I picked out several. In fact, I still have one man that sends me a text saying, if this doesn't work out,
You got a backup.
yeah. But I picked a man. I responded to a man that I normally would not respond to, and that made all the difference in the world. Yeah. I thought he was too nice. He seemed a little, normal, maybe not exactly all of the physical attributes that I wanted. But what I read, I felt like, Donna, these are all of the things that you say are important to you, yet you're picking men that don't have any of these things. Why don't you say yes to this man? So he just said, do you want to go to dinner? And I said, maybe. Maybe.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So things are going really, really well. I at one point I said to him, you text or call me every day, and he goes, yeah, well, isn't that what you do in relationships? I said, well, I was just waiting. Maybe you weren't going to call one day. And he goes, why wouldn't I call you? And so it's just so refreshing to be with a secure man.
Oh,
I have to tell you. Yeah.
that's so wonderful. And you're attracted to him. You find him. He really cares about you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. The other night I was doing a final exam, and I had to be online, and it was timed, and he was on his way home from work. So he dropped off 2 bottles of wine and a Caesar salad at the front door and sent me a text message and said, Santa left you a little present at the front door. Yeah.
oh, Donna.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Oh my God, that is so wonderful.
Yeah.
I am so happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like is it peaceful? Is it easy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's peaceful, it's easy, and while I am taking it slow and easy, we have discussed the future and living together, or where to live, where to buy a home, kind of thing.
Oh my goodness.
So there's no yeah. So yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I am so thrilled. I don't even know what to say.
Well, it's because he put on his before it expired, he put on his Zoosk account. He said, sorry, ladies, I'm off the market.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Does he have kids?
Yeah, he has 2 teenage, a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter, and I've met them, and yeah, and
good kids.
Yeah, they're great.
Great.
And yes, it's just comfortable and easy, and I see him almost every day.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Does it feel like a dream come true?
Yeah, yeah. Every once in a while I have to say, okay, Donna, this is happening, and this is real and good. Like, keep an anxious person out of the picture,
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at what you created. I mean, for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. You helped me, I would not have been able to do it because I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
And Donna, you were so far away from it, right? I mean, you had a dream and something that you knew you really wanted. But if you look at all the work that we did in those 12 weeks, right? It was a lot.
It was a lot of work. And I just have to say to anybody who wants to do this, I mean, if you do it, it will work. If you don't do it, it won't work. So you have to do the work. And so I really liked meeting with everybody a couple of times a week because it keeps you on point. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And you feel challenged. If you see somebody else getting all these dates or somebody's getting their profile back, then you're like, oh, I gotta get my profile. I gotta get my
Yeah.
dates. I want to be the next one.
Yeah.
Right. But wow. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And I guess I got lucky, you know. I
I don't
just
think
got
so.
lucky and I don't know.
Donna, you can't chalk it up to luck because here's the deal. If you hadn't done the course, you'd be right where you were
Well, right.
months ago.
I should say it wasn't luck that I found him. It was luck that he came to me as quickly as he did.
Got it.
Yeah.
Honey,
Yeah.
you were ready.
Yeah. I was so
You were ready. It wasn't because you couldn't have it. It was because you just didn't have that step-by-step plan to go out and get it. It could have taken you many, many more years.
yes. Yes. I have a girlfriend I'm trying to talk into to seeing you. She just turned 50 a month ago, and she's just having a horrible, every relationship I've ever had isn't going right. And I've told her multiple times, go watch this webinar. But you know how it is. When you reach the bottom, then you'll take some action, So
It's every year that goes by is another year you don't get to spend with the love of your life. I
I
mean,
know. Hmm.
that sucks when you think about it, because when you really do find real love, oh
Yes.
my God, you just want to, all you want to do is take every single healthy, free moment and just, enjoy whatever you can create out of life together.
Yes, absolutely. That's true. Greg has two children, and so he's living in a community that's about a 10-minute drive from me, and he has to stay there because his children are in a particular school district and all of that. And he says, I've got 3 years I have to be here. He goes, and then so we kind of had this discussion like, well, I guess it'll be 3 years before we get together. And the other night he said, I'm not waiting no 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dana, I'm
So
so happy.
yeah, so I will be with this man unless something silly happened. I can't see why I wouldn't be with him. I love him. He's a great man, and he's got bedroom eyes.
Oh, so many of the women who go through the course really find beautiful relationships, not just a guy, but really the guy that they're meant to be with.
Yes.
Just real love, the real deal. It sounds like you've got it.
I do. I do.
Oh,
And I'm yeah. Is the best thing I've ever done in my life is to take this course. And
Donna.
it's a financial commitment, but if there weren't some sort of commitment, what would make you do it? And if you had to go get therapy, it's not great, yeah, it's worth
It doesn't get you this.
Yeah.
Most therapists themselves don't have it.
Right.
Right. One of the reasons I'm able to help you, you see me with Benjamin. One of the reasons that this happens is because, there is an energy field in the universe, right? If you're going to work with people, you work with the very best people you can find who have what you want. They've already done the hard work, right? I put the puzzle together. So all you need to do is plug into what we have, and you get to skip all the BS and all the other stuff that's out there. You just get an immediate access to this.
Yes.
And so you get the fast road. I mean, it took me 8 years to do this. You did it in 3 months, 6 weeks, really.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the beauty.
Well, and watching you and Benjamin was very helpful too. I grew up not having ever seen a good relationship. So I didn't know, I didn't know what it looked like. And yeah, so
Yeah, and we're not even faking. Like, that's the real, like, that's how we are, you know? That's
Yeah.
just how we are together.
So,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think it sounds like that's how the two of you are.
Yeah. I mean, he says, maybe you'll piss me off someday. I don't know. And I said, I don't know, so.
You don't have to. And
Yeah.
Donna, the funnest part about it is people don't realize when you're in such a safe and loving relationship with somebody that you're really crazy about, it's so much fun.
Well, yeah, it is. In the beginning, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm too boring. This is just too boring. And then I realized it's not boring, it's calm.
Uh-huh.
There's a difference between, boring and anxiety or, yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I am so thrilled.
Yeah.
I am so, so, so thrilled. So you literally went from not dating, never having had a good relationship in your life,
Right. Never.
to finding
Never have.
never not being picked, not being chosen.
Mm-mm.
No, and wondering why all the other women had women who, you thought I'm as pretty as she is.
Yes.
And here you are. Now you're that girl.
I know. I'm like,
You really found it all, Donna. That's so beautiful.
yeah, I'm so happy.
Oh, honey. Me too.